The story begins in March 12, 2005. A high school girl named Du Hai Rong carving something on the board with a knife. She faces a camera and begins recording herself. Her words are quiet but unsettling. She wishes death upon everyone around her. When she finishes speaking, she draws the knife across her own throat. Jump forward to June 12th. Saya starts her morning like any other, getting dressed and sending a text to her neighbor Jian-woo. He rushes to catch her at the elevator, visibly surprised when she leans in and gives him a quick kiss. The two head off to school together. On the way, they cross paths with Nairi, a friend who clearly has feelings for Jian-woo. Before she can say much, Hyung-wook shows up and hijacks the conversation. He immediately picks up on the closeness between Saya and Jian-woo and asks directly whether they're a couple. Both deny it. Nairi steps in to back them up, which prompts Hyung-wook to turn around and ask her point-blank if she has a crush on Jian-woo. She says yes, without hesitation, and the air between the group shifts. Hyung-wook then jokingly claims he has feelings for Nairi, and she shuts him down instantly. Once they reach school, Hyung-wook hands his laptop to Ha-jun, another friend in the group, and asks him to fix something. Ha-jun agrees, and it becomes clear from a single glance at Saya walking into the room that he's into her too. Hyung-wook is about to say something to him about Saya and Jian-woo when their teacher walks in and takes over. The teacher shares the results of a recent math exam. Ha-jun tops the class, but the real shock is Hyung-wook placing right behind him. Nobody buys it, and his classmates joke that something suspicious must have happened. Right around the same time, Hyung-wook's phone buzzes with a notification from an app called Girigo, telling him his wish has come true. When his friends press him about the exam results, he brings up the app. He explains how it works. You write your name and personal birth information on paper, record a video stating your wish sincerely, hit send, and it actually happens. He even plays the video he recorded. His friends think he's being ridiculous, but Saya lingers for a moment after the others leave. Hyung-wook shows her a countdown timer running on the app. She tells him to just study properly and stop depending on gimmicks. Things aren't as easy beneath the surface though. Nairi doesn't really like Hyung-wook and would rather skip his upcoming birthday gathering. He overhears her saying as much to Saya, though he pretends not to notice. There's also a quiet friction between Saya and Nairi, both of them circling around the same guy. Elsewhere, a woman named Hae-yeon performs a ritual in front of a snake. She lives with someone named Bangwol. The snake seems to signal that a visitor is coming, and Hae-yeon tells Bangwol to get a knife ready just in case. Back at school, Jian-woo struggles to return to high jump after being disqualified the year before. Saya tries to loosen him up, telling him to stop thinking so much and just go for it. After practice, their coach pulls Saya aside with big news. She has a shot at the national reserve team. Saya is thrilled, though the coach makes it clear that weekend practice will now be mandatory. That evening, Hyung-wook can't focus during a study session. Ha-jun watches him take some pills. Then Saya's voice comes through his phone, but he soon realizes she's talking about him behind his back to others. Something in him breaks quietly. He tries reaching her repeatedly. She eventually calls back while celebrating her national team spot with Jian-woo. When she tells him she can't make his birthday, he hangs up. She tries again, but his phone is already off. Jian-woo picks up Hyung-wook's idea about the app and records a wish of his own, half joking, hoping practice gets cancelled so they can both show up for their friend. The next morning arrives normally, but Hyung-wook is off. He won't look away from the timer on his phone. The teacher warns him. Ha-jun nudges him. Nothing lands. Then, with 2 minutes left on the countdown, he stands up. His body starts moving in ways it shouldn't. Someone reaches for him, and he pulls out a knife, nearly driving it into Ha-jun. The room freezes. He turns towards Saya. She tries to reach him, speaks to him directly. For a second, he seems to come back, gripping her arm and asking her for help, but he slits his throat. Blood splashes all over her. She tries to stop it, but it's too late and the timer hits 0. In a flashback, Saya and Jian-woo meet for the first time in an elevator. He falls for her instantly. At school, rumors spread fast. Some students whisper that Saya is cursed, that her parents' deaths are proof. But Jian-woo, Nairi, Ha-jun, and Hyung-wook shut it down without hesitation. Hyung-wook goes further, pressing his favorite toy into her hands just to see her smile. That gesture seals it. 5 strangers become a group. Back in the present, police closed Hyung-wook's case as suicide. Saya can't accept it. She steps out of the nurse's office and walks to the gym to find something clean to wear. The toy catches her eye immediately, and the memory of the previous night surfaces. She had shown up at Hyung-wook's door early, birthday gift in hand, knowing she'd miss his actual party because of the new practice schedule. He was quiet and deflated, though her being there helped. She promised him the others would show up. He wasn't convinced, kept saying Jian-woo wouldn't come. Just as she was leaving, he brought up the phone call. Someone had used her voice to say horrible things about him. He already knew it wasn't her. In the present, grief hits each of them differently. Saya runs into Coach Song in the gym, and they find a moment of comfort together. Then Coach Song mentions canceling practice, and Saya's stomach drops. That was Jian-woo's wish. A granted wish means a death timer. She pushes back, tries to convince Coach Song to keep practice running, but a light fixture crashes down between them, cutting the conversation short. Saya checks the time. Jian-woo's phone buzzes across town. His wish is marked fulfilled. The timer begins. Saya gets to him fast. The group gathers, she lays it all out. The danger is real, and Jian-woo is next. Neri refuses to hear it. The two clashed, and Neri bristles when Jian-woo quietly takes Saya's side. She turns sharp, throwing Saya's past at her. The parents, the accident, the cloud of bad luck she supposedly dragged into all their lives. Saya doesn't flinch. She says she already watched the people she loved most die in front of her, and she won't let it happen again. Ha-jun steps in. Enough. They need a fix, not a fight. He pulls up the app on Jian-woo's phone and tries to delete it. It comes back. He kills the phone entirely. The timer keeps moving. Breaking the device won't help. The clock is Jian-woo's now, and it's shrinking. They head to Saya's place to think. On the way, Jian-woo stays by her side. She quietly admits she nearly walked away from the team when she first moved to town. It was his steadiness that made her stay. At home, they split briefly. Saya showers at her aunt's. Jian-woo heads upstairs. His phone rings. It's Saya's voice or something pretending to be, saying cutting things about him and his feelings. He runs to her apartment. The call ends the moment he arrives. He puts both phones in the fridge, uneasy about what might be listening. They compare experiences and realize neither call was genuine. It's the same thing that happened to Hyun-wook. The others arrive. Ha-jun opens the app's code and starts digging. Nothing works. The timer holds steady. Then Jian-woo goes quiet. Something in his eye, he says, rubbing at it hard. Saya reaches for him. He shoves her off. He points suddenly to an empty corner. Does anyone else see it? Neri looks and freezes. The others see nothing. Then Jian-woo pushes his own finger into his eye at a horrifying angle. He tells them all to leave. Neri shrinks into a corner, phone raised, recording. Jian-woo's nose runs with blood as something presses down on him from above, invisible to everyone else. Ha-jun grabs him from behind to hold him still. Saya calls for help. Jian-woo swings and connects. He shifts to Ha-jun next, wrapping both hands around his throat, accusing him of interfering with the app. Ha-jun's body goes slack. Saya grabs a laptop and brings it down on Jian-woo's head. He collapses, bleeding. At the hospital, Saya tells her aunt nothing. Jian-woo is in the ICU, life uncertain. Nari finds Saya and tells her Jian-woo's family wants answers. They're blaming her, unaware she was the one trying to save Ha-jun. Nari offers to grab some things from Saya's house. Saya says it's fine but shares the door code anyway. Ha-jun keeps working on the app. His sister Hae-young calls. Stop, she says. He's alive because of Saya. She explains, a spirit named Jugu is behind all of it. It spreads curses and changes shape depending on what's available. Right now it's an app. Any video or image holding a person's emotions is enough to let it in. Ha-young wants Hae-jun to come to her. He hesitates. She kicked him out before. Then the snake stirs. Her voice shifts. She asks about Saya, urgent now. Saya is in danger. The scene moves to Saya, pen in hand, writing her Saju. Jian-woo's condition crashes. The act pulls up the image of her parents' accident without warning. Ha-jun reaches the hospital. Too late. Saya has already made her wish. Jian-woo saved, restored to the moment before any of this started. She tells Ha-jun the wish will let her see Ju directly, the same presence that came for Hyun-wook and Jian-woo. Seeing it is the only way to stop it. Ha-jun finally tells the truth about his sister and asks Saya to come. Ha-young feels it shift. She calls to Bangwol, get the knife. Jian-woo opens his eyes and Saya is pleased to see that her wish was fulfilled. Nari stands inside Saya's house and finds Jian-woo's phone. She pulls up both timers and studies them. An 8-hour gap sits between the two countdowns. Then one of the timers stops. Saya makes her wish and saves Jian-woo. Ha-jun finds her shortly after and finally comes clean. His sister Hae-young didn't go abroad. She quit her job and became a shaman. He lied to protect the secret. They grab a taxi, but a fallen tree blocks the road before they reach the destination. They get out and walk the rest of the way through a dense forest. The tension between them is so thick that a few insects send them both screaming and stumbling through the trees. They reach Hae-young's property, but Ha-jun hesitates at the gate. He explains that Bangwol never allows visitors past this point, and Ha-young herself cannot leave. Crossing the boundary means death. Mid-complaint, Bangwol appears and waves them in warmly. Inside, Saya's phone rings. It sounds like Jianwoo asking why she hasn't visited and where she is. Hae-young spots the candles dying out and rushes over, shouting at Saya not to respond. It isn't Jianwoo on the line. It's the spirit testing her. When Saya refuses to answer, the voice turns threatening. Her eyes go white, her hands lock up. Ha-young uses a rope to knock the phone from Saya's grip. For a terrifying moment, Saya's head rotates nearly all the way around. Then she goes still. Ha-young moves fast. She tells Ha-jun the spirit has seized Saya's soul. They carry her unconscious body to the outdoor altar. Ha-young warns Ha-jun clearly, "Don't touch Saya, don't leave the room." Bangwol repeats it, "Stay inside." At the altar, Hae-young begins the ritual. Bangwol assists, calling her Hazel as he steadies her. The snake slides out and joins them. Saya awakes in another realm, the altar still around her. Hazel stands before her and explains what must happen. To survive, they need to pass through 3 doors. Back in the present realm, Hazel tells Bangwol to light the incense. He warns her the wind is strong, it'll burn fast. He begins chanting and building a protective ward. In the other realm, Hazel shows Saya a white silk thread connecting them. One rule, don't look back. If Saya turns around, the spirit will see Hazel and her life is forfeit too. A door materializes ahead. Hazel puts on her mask and vanishes. Saya walks forward, opens it, and steps into the school hallway. Hyun-wook's death replays around her. He chases her, pleading for help one moment and threatening her the next. She runs without stopping, never turning. Eventually she understands. He isn't real. She runs straight through him. A second door appears. Back in the present realm, Hazel calls for another incense stick. In the other realm, Saya watches her parents' accident unfold again. She hesitates, desperate to stay. Hazel urges her to move. Bangwol warns the incense is nearly gone. Hazel tells him plainly, if they get trapped, she'll find her own way out. From across the room, Ha-jun watches and listens to Bangwol's desperation. He pulls out his phone, downloads Girigo, and stares at it. Saya finally pushes herself toward the third door, but the moment she touches it, it explodes. She wakes up inside Hazel's house. Ha-jun and Bangwol are beside her, telling her it's over. But Hazel's voice still echoes in her head. The third door isn't done. Ha-jun suddenly contorts, possessed, just like Jianwoo. Hazel begs Saya not to look back. Bangwol says it's the only way to free Ha-jun. Saya turns. The spirit sees Hazel. In the present realm, Hazel bleeds. Her mask shatters. She tells Bangwol to reopen the door. 3 minutes, he warns. Saya is pulled into another realm. Blood floods the ground. A red silk thread ties her wrist to a red phone. Across the space stands the spirit, school uniform, throat slit, watching her. Bodies and hoods hang overhead. Blood pours. Saya's nose bleeds as she trembles. An arrow slices through the red thread. Hazel appears behind her. Run. They sprint for the final door. The spirit lunges with a knife. Hazel steps in front of Saya and takes the blow. They return. Saya collapses. Hazel, wounded, tells them it isn't finished. She must sever Saya's connection to the other side by locating and destroying the Mahyung, an object anchoring the curse. Until then, Saya is safe but not free. Ha-jun helps Saya inside. Bangwol turns to Hazel, furious she pushed herself so hard, worried the injury will make leaving the property even harder. She dismisses his concern and asks him to watch the kids. She stays behind so the snake can heal her wound. On his way in, Bangwol finds Ha-jun Saju, the notes he wrote before, almost making a wish. He sits Ha-jun down and scolds him quietly. His sister is already stretched to her limit saving his friend. Another wish would only make everything worse. He asked him not to do it. At the hospital, Neri visits Jianwoo. Saya's aunt mentions his recovery. Neri goes to his room, plays in the video of his violent episode and lies, tells him Saya said she can't see him anymore and has gone quiet. Back at Hazel's house, Saya thanks her. She admits that seeing her parents, even if it was an illusion, stirred something in her. Hazel listens and promises to help. Later, Hazel explains the full picture. Girigo is just the spirit's current disguise, a curse worn by a vengeful soul, taking new forms across time. Destroying it requires finding the Mahyung. She believes it's the red phone Saya was tethered to in the other realm. Saya must retrieve it and bring it back. Ha-jun goes tense. Hazel says there's no other option. Saya is the only one connected to both sides. She's the only one who can hold the phone. They settle in for the night. Outside, rain begins to fall. For Saya, it isn't rain, it's blood. She sees a girl with a slit throat, drenched in blood, stands before her. She spins around and finds another girl lunging at her. Both are in school uniforms, but their faces are unreadable. Hazel pulls her out of it. Saya insists she's fine. Before the three of them leave, Hazel slides a protection bracelet onto Saya's wrist. Don't remove it. Don't answer calls. Don't reply to messages. She also asked Bangwol to watch over the group while they search for the Mayhem. Outside, Hajun quietly thanks his sister. It weighs on him that she's confined to the forest property. Bangwol tells him he'll find a way to change that. Across town, Jianwu discharges himself from the hospital and heads straight to Saya's place. Nari is already there, claiming Saya's aunt sent her. She offers to help Jianwu search for his phone, all while hiding the fact that she already has it. Meanwhile, Saya, Hajun, and Bangwol go to Hajun's place to retrieve Hyunwook's laptop. They need to trace how he discovered Girigo in the first place. While they're going through it, a message arrives from someone on Hyunwook's Discord, a friend who heard the rumor about his death and is reaching out, clearly rattled, hinting that he might be responsible somehow. The friend arranges to hand over something Hyunwook had asked him to get, unaware he's now communicating with the wrong people. The trio sets a quiet trap. Hajun uses his skills to trace Hyunwook's digital footprints and pinpoint the meeting location. They find the contact, a guy named Min Susan. He clocks immediately that something is wrong and bolts. The chase ends on a rooftop. After getting accidentally hit by a door twice during the scramble, he gives up and talks. He admits he was Hyunwook's friend and supplied him with pills to manage the side effects of other substances he was taking. He also knew about the app and says Hyunwook should have paid closer attention to the warnings. Apparently, someone had posted an online story about a ghost at Siren High. The post was removed, likely because of attached photos, but Susan remembers the names, Kwon Sai-won and Du Hairong. Hajun digs through the laptop and pulls up the photo's metadata. Bangwol asks Susan for the address. He only knows the general neighborhood. The photo goes to Hazel. She tells him to tread carefully while searching for Hairong. She's shaken by the fact that the spirit went as far as attacking Saya inside the house while she slept. The three head to the neighborhood. Shaman flags mark the right houses in areas like this, and Hairong's mother turns out to have been a well-known local shaman. The search eats up most of the day. An elderly woman eventually helps them and reveals that Hairong's mother has passed. She also points out that Hairong herself appears in the photograph they found. Bangwol collects some salt from her on the way out. They break into Hairong's house. It's clearly been abandoned. Bangwol works his compass through each room, feeling for spirits. At one door, it reacts sharply. He places Saya and Hejun together inside a circle, pours salt around them as a ward, and tells them to shout if anything goes wrong. If he isn't back in 10 minutes, they run, and never look back while doing it. He slips Hejun a quiet nudge to use the alone time with Saya wisely. Inside, Bangwol finds it deeply unsettling. Near the entrance, a ruined temple. Throughout the house, signs of intense and unusual shamanism. A sealed-off wall hides evidence of a dark ritual. Inside a closet, severed bird heads. The compass shakes harder. Outside trouble. Hajun swats a mosquito off Saya's face and accidentally knocks her out of the salt circle. The ward breaks. Saya immediately sees the spirit, the uniformed girl again, this time leading her to a shallow hole in the ground. Inside, a talisman, a school uniform, and a photograph of Hairong beside another girl. Hajun calls Bangwol out immediately. He surfaces, sees the broken ward, and examines everything. Photos of all the items go to Hazel. She's as puzzled as Bangwol. Hairong's mother blended elements of both shrine and temple, cursing and protecting at the same time. With her dead, they have no way to ask. They refocus. The red phone is still the priority. Hazel studies the photo of the two girls and recognizes a window in the background, the same one from the realm where Saya was taken. She concludes that one of the girls must have photographed that location and unknowingly turned the phone into the Mayhem. Hajun proposes using the photo metadata to reverse track all the Girigo videos and locate the phone. The problem, the server only accepts legends from registered devices. Saya remembers seeing the file server on Coach Song's computer at school. They plan a break-in. Before they go, Hajun asks Saya about the spirit she saw at Hairong's house. Could she identify her? Saya shakes her head, but her instinct says the girl isn't hostile. She thinks she's being guided, pointed toward answers deliberately. Saya and Hejun slip into the school after hours and access the coach's computer. They log into Girigo's video server. Scrolling through, they freeze. A video appears, Mayri visibly drunk, staring into her phone. Her wish? To watch two specific people die. One of the names is Hyunwook. Her video was recorded before he died. Jianwu and Nairi break into the school together. The story then pulls back to the night of November 4th, 2008, the night Nairi made her drunken wish. She was out with two friends, Dongjae and Chae-yoon. She showed them photos of Jianwu and laughed at Hyunwook for taking the app seriously. Dongjae saw an opening and started playing along, pretending the app was real. He brought up the names Hairong and Saiwon. Chae-yoon grew visibly uneasy and told him to drop it. He eventually backed off, calling it a joke. Na-ri, annoyed, fired back by recording a wish, both Dong-jae and Hyang-wook dead. Chae-yoon tried to stop her. Too late. The next morning, Na-ri woke up with a pounding head and arrived late to school. She walked into class just as Hyang-wook slit his throat. Seconds later, her phone buzzed. Wish fulfilled. Her timer started. She locked herself in a bathroom stall, sick and shaking, calling Dong-jae repeatedly. No answer. Chae-yoon's phone went to voicemail. Around her, the world started to warp, hallucinations of classmates staring and pointing, blaming her for what happened to Hyang-wook. Still spiraling, she later clashed with Saya, who insisted the app was behind everything and that Jian-woo needed saving. Before joining the others at Saya's place, Na-ri made a detour to Chae-yoon's house and confronted her. Chae-yoon admitted she'd heard rumors that the app was connected to the deaths of Hairong and Saiwon, but she also said the version circulating now wasn't the original. According to her, Saiwon built the app specifically to target and torment Hairong. At Saya's place, Na-ri stood back and watched her friends work to shut down the app and pull Jian-woo out of danger. She saw the spirit attacking him with her own eyes. She fainted. When she came to at the hospital, she wasted no time. She manufactured a story to make Saya believe Jian-woo's family held her responsible. Back at Saya's house, Na-ri noticed something significant. Her own timer had stopped the moment Jian-woo's wish was granted. She worked out the chain reaction, each wish triggering the next. She considered telling the others, but the spirit got there first, feeding her a vision of her friends conspiring against her, cutting her out deliberately. She held on to Jian-woo's phone and kept moving, back to the hospital to see him, then to Saya's house again. By the time she arrived, the spirit had already taken hold of her. Jian-woo found her there. He asked to see the video of his own incident on her phone. Watching it, the pieces clicked into place. Later, he went to the phone store and had his number deactivated. Na-ri, unaware, continued using his old phone, convinced she was messaging Saya while posing as Jian-woo. The Saya, on the other end, kept pushing her to cut herself off from the group. The spirit was steering her the whole time. That night at the school, she and Jian-woo broke into the nurse's office and found Saiwon's medical file. Jian-woo confronted her directly. He knew she'd seen the spirit too. He knew she'd noticed the wound on Saiwon's face. They'd agreed early on not to lie to each other, and he held her to it. Na-ri broke. She told him everything. He told her what he knew in return. He had his phone, and she was being manipulated. The spirit was making her believe they were shutting her out when they weren't. Then the possession hit again. Her expression shifted. She turned on him, accused him of luring her there under false pretenses. She grabbed a pair of scissors and backed into a defensive stance. She told him about the wish, flatly, without remorse. In the brief moment the spirit released her, she drove the scissors into him. The spirit flooded back in. She ran. At the same time, Bangwol's compass spiked. The spirit was inside the school. He moved fast, heading for Hejun and Saya. He turned a corner and nearly collided with Jian-woo, who was trying to smash through a glass door to reach Na-ri. The spirit materialized in front of Jian-woo and bore down on him. He began dragging his own nails across his throat without realizing it. Bangwol arrived just in time and pulled him back. Down the hall, Hajun and Saya finished downloading the files as every light in the building cut out. The spirit turned on Bangwol. It drove shards of broken glass into one of his eyes. Then another spirit steps forward and asks, "Have you ever heard that if you write down your sadju and make a wish, it will come true?" The story steps back to where it all began. Hairong and Saiwon, exactly as Chae-yoon described. Hairong shows up at Saiwon's house looking for her. Saiwon's mother, Eub-soon, a shaman, spots something immediately, a cursed splinter lodged in Hairong's eye. She draws on her abilities and removes it. Hairong is moved, fascinated. Saiwon has warned her repeatedly to stay away from Eub-soon, but the woman's quiet power is difficult to dismiss. Saiwon's relationship with her mother is fractured. She once ran from home entirely to escape her. She holds Eub-soon responsible for her father's death, blaming the drinking, the shamanism, all of it. When Hairong casually mentions visiting the house, Saiwon's mood hardens. Walking back from their usual hideout, they miss the bus because Hairong freezes up at the sight of her crush, Jae-tae, and refuses to board. Saiwon laughs it off and agrees to keep the secret, on one condition. Hairong must never reveal that Saiwon is the shaman's daughter. At school, Hairong mentions wanting to join the coding club. Saiwon quietly talks her out of it. A classmate named Heejin pulls Saiwon into a team. Herself, Jae-tae, and Dong-jae to enter an app competition. Saiwon agrees. As Saiwon pours herself into the project, Hairong drifts. She's left out, and Sai-won does nothing to include her. Worse, she lets the group assume Hairong is the shaman's odd daughter, deflecting attention away from herself. Dong-jae pitches the concept, an app inspired by shamanism that grants wishes. Sai-won ends up doing most of the actual work. Outside school, Sai-won actively avoids Absun. Hairong keeps running into her by accident, and eventually her curiosity wins. She accepts Eobsun's open invitation to visit. Eobsun explains her work and tells her that the gift required to do it isn't something you can learn. You're either born with it or you're not. Sai-won finds them together and snaps. Hairong apologizes, but Sai-won won't hear it. She's convinced Hairong is collecting ammunition to use against her. Eventually, at the hideout, she softens. She forgives Hairong and opens up about the app. She admits she wishes she could use it to wish her mother dead. Then she turns the question around. Hairong answers honestly. She wants Jae-tae to fall in love with her. Sai-won sees an opportunity and convinces Hairong to record a proper wish video on the app, putting real feeling into it. That night, Sai-won speaks more openly about her mother than she ever has. The next day brings a rupture. On their way to the hideout, they watch Absun argue outside a convenience store demanding alcohol. Sai-won walks away without a word. She goes home and tears apart the shrines. Absun returns to find the altars destroyed. She understands immediately. Sai-won has angered the spirits. She begins performing ritual after ritual to shield her daughter from the consequences. The rituals hold, but the cost is visible. Absun bleeds, her strength draining. Hairong arrives at the house. Sai-won had said she'd be there. Instead, she finds Eobsun at the back of the house, bloodied, mid-ritual. Eobsun grabs her and begs, place a talisman in Sai-won's pocket without her knowing. It's the only thing that will keep her alive. Hairong agrees. She slips inside and reaches for Sai-won's jacket, but Sai-won walks in with Heejin. She sees it. She slaps Hairong hard, tears up the talisman, walks out of the friendship without saying another word. Heejin brings the story back to the group. Sai-won overhears them picking it apart, and when Dong-jae suggests she might actually be the shaman's daughter, she's done being quiet. She walks into the room, pulls out the app, and turns to Jae-tae. He owes her. She collects. Together, they use the app to expose Hairong's recorded wish, her feelings for Jae-tae, laid bare. Jae-tae humiliates her publicly and beats her. Hairong doesn't cry, she acts. She performs a ritual using everything Absun had shown her, building a cursed Diolmi from personal items belonging to Jae-tae and Sai-won. She makes her wish. Shortly after, Jae-tae slits his throat on the street. When Sai-won learns of Hairong's death, something shifts. She tries to stop the app by accessing the main server and shutting it down. It won't go offline. The server holds. Out of options and out of time, she ends her life in the school's media room. But before she dies, she fights. She cuts her own face trying to sever the connection. When that fails, she makes one final wish that Hairong's wish repeat itself. Naori chases Hejun and Saya into the gym, completely out of control. At the same time, Bang-wol and Jian-woo rush in to help. They'd arrive just in time to see Naori swing a metal rod at Saya. Hajun quickly steps in front of her and takes the hit himself, breaking his arm. Even then, Saya tries to talk Naori down, but it doesn't work. The spirit inside her takes over again and she attacks once more. This time, Bang-wol can actually see the spirit controlling her. He throws his knife, hitting Naori and sending her crashing down to the lower floor. Jian-woo uses the moment to check on Saya and urges her to focus on saving herself. Soon after, Bang-wol and Hejun return, but Naori has disappeared. With injuries piling up, they decide to go to the hospital first. At the hospital, Bang-wol explains something surprising to Hejun. His eye injury now lets him see spirits. This means he might be able to see whatever is controlling Hazel and help her. Hejun feels grateful and, in excitement, starts calling him his brother-in-law. After treatment, they regroup with Saya and Jian-woo. They watch Hairong's video and use its data to find where it was filmed. Once they get a location, Bang-wol drives everyone there. During the drive, they call Hazel. She warns them to stay alert and reassures Saya that she'll be safe as long as she wears the white silk bracelet. Meanwhile, Jian-woo shares a nurse's report he found about Sai-won. At the same time, Naori, still controlled by the spirit, heads toward the old hideout connected to Hairong and Sai-won. As the group continues, strange things start happening. Their GPS begins glitching, clearly affected by the spirit. Suddenly, a truck, also controlled by the spirit, almost crashes into them. Bang-wol steps out of the car to investigate. He notices a metal piece on a nearby electric pole shaking violently. Just then, Saya starts stepping out of the car too. Realizing the danger, Bang-wol jumps in front of her. A metal rod shoots forward and pierces through his body, pinning him to the car door. Ha-jun panics, terrified of losing him, and tries to help. But Bangwol, despite the pain, feels relieved. He saved Saya and got closer to Ha-jun. Far away, Hazel senses something is wrong when one of her vases suddenly shatters. With his remaining strength, Bangwol tells Saya and Jianwoo to keep going. He instructs them to find a house with a rainbow-colored window and hands them his knife and compass. Ha-jun stays behind, waiting for an ambulance, and calls Hazel, who reassures him that Bangwol will survive. Saya and Jianwoo continue the search. After some time, they split up to cover more ground. Saya finds the house first, but the path to the second floor is unstable. Without hesitating, she jumps across and tells Jianwoo to stay back. Inside, she spots the phone. Just as she reaches for it, Naori appears and blocks her. A fight breaks out. Naori attacks fiercely, trying to kill her. Hearing the struggle, Jianwoo overcomes his fear and makes the jump too. He rushes in and joins the fight. But Naori is too strong under the spirit's control. In desperation, Jianwoo stabs her using Bangwol's knife. Naori drops her weapon and slowly backs into a corner, shocked by what just happened. Saya quickly grabs the phone and tries to calm her, believing the spirit is gone. They tell her about Hazel and ask her to come with them. As Saya moves closer, everything changes. Naori suddenly cuts the white soap bracelet. Saya collapses instantly, her body shaking uncontrollably. The phone in her hand turns red. Naori begins to laugh, while Jianwoo freezes in fear. At the same moment, Hazel's bracelet snaps, confirming that Saya is now in serious danger. Saya's body shakes violently on the ground while Naori stands over her, laughing like nothing matters, and Jianwoo threatening to kill her if Saya dies. At that exact moment, Saya's phone starts ringing. It's Hazel. She urgently tells Jianwoo to bring Saya to her house because there is almost no time left. But Saya, struggling to breathe, begs him not to listen. She starts shaking again, worse than before. Jianwoo freezes, unsure who to trust. Suddenly, everything shifts. Saya opens her eyes in a strange place. She is back at school, surrounded by her friends. Everything looks normal. They smile and tell her the nightmare is over. According to them, Hazel already saved everyone. Naori apologizes like nothing happened. Jianwoo stays close to Saya, gently calming her down like a caring boyfriend. For a moment, Saya believes it. She thinks it was all stress, just a panic attack. Even the cursed app is gone from their phones. But something feels wrong. She studies the school carefully and notices the structure looks strange. Curious, she opens a window and sees multiple versions of herself outside. Before she can react, the phone suddenly appears in her hands again. In an instant, she is pulled into another world. This time, it's the cursed realm she once visited with Hazel. The atmosphere is dark and heavy. Naori appears again, still controlled by the spirit, trying to stop Saya from ending everything. Back in reality, Jianwoo makes a decision. He uses Bangwol's compass to figure out who is telling the truth. Trusting Hazel, he carries Saya and rushes out. He grabs a taxi and heads toward Hazel's place. The journey is far from easy. The spirit keeps interfering, putting his life in danger again and again. On top of that, Jianwoo doesn't know the way. The forest confuses him, and he keeps losing direction. Meanwhile, Hazel struggles on her side. She repeatedly tries to light a helium paper lantern but fails each time. Finally, one lights up successfully. Its glow guides Jianwoo, helping him find her house. Once he arrives, they immediately begin a ritual to destroy the source of the curse, the Maehyeong. But they soon realize something shocking. The cursed object is not Hairung's phone. Back in the cursed realm, Naori, still possessed, suddenly tries to get close to Saya in a disturbing way. Just in time, Hazel appears and saves her. However, during the rescue, Hazel's mask breaks. She quickly tells Saya they need to create a way out. Before they can act, Hairung appears and leads them toward the media room. Her presence feels different. Her broken neck is now normal, as if she has been freed. With Hairung's help, Hazel figures out the truth. The real Maehyeong is Saiwon's phone, and it might be hidden in the media room. She forms a plan. Hazel will distract Saiwon's spirit using a ritual called Diolmi, while Saya sneaks into the media room to find the phone. In the real world, Hazel begins the ritual. Her spirit enters the cursed realm, taking the form of Hairung. Saiwon sees her and is shocked, believing her old friend is finally free. Pretending to be Hairung, Hazel asks Saiwon for help, saying they can end the curse together. For a moment, it works, but Saiwon quickly realizes the truth and attacks her, breaking the ritual. At the same time, Naori, now free from possession, still blocks Saya's path. She refuses to let her continue. Instead of regret, she complains about how unfair everything is, refusing to accept any blame. Saya tries to talk things out while dodging attacks. She doesn't want to hurt her, but Nairi refuses to listen or change. That's when something inside Saya snaps. The fight turns brutal. In the chaos, Nairi stabs Saya in the stomach using a broken broomstick. Despite the pain, Saya fights back with everything she has and beats Nairi until she collapses. Barely standing, Saya continues forward. Hazel, struggling against Saiwon's spirit, connects herself to it to buy more time. Finally, Saya finds the phone. She grabs it and runs to Hazel, who is pinned against a wall by an arrow linking her to the spirit. Hazel tries to destroy the phone with the arrow but misses. Saya rushes forward, grabs the arrow, and prepares to finish it. Saiwon's spirit screams in rage, shattering every glass surface around them. Ignoring everything, Saya uses the arrow and destroys the phone once and for all. The curse breaks. Both Saya and Hazel wake up in the real world, injured but alive, but there is a cost. With the curse gone, the cursed realm collapses, and Nairi is trapped inside. She is presumed dead. Days later, life slowly returns to normal. The students gather to honor Hyangwook. Bangwol, now able to see spirits, quietly watches as Hyangwook's spirit finally moves on. Later, Jianwu gently asks Saya to delete the app from her phone. He knows she's hesitating because it reminds her of Nairi and Hyangwook. Still, he encourages her to let go. As they head back, Bangwol jokes with Hejun, teasing him for crying earlier. Then, he reveals something unexpected. He may have found a way to save Hazel. But the story isn't over. One night, Susan sneaks into the school. Following a tip he received on Discord, he finds Nairi's phone. Curious about Hyangwook's death, he unlocks it. On the screen, the Girigo app opens again. But that's where this video ends. Let me know what you think about the series. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.